be a problem because more than likely TSM will have to go with a double AP composition, and once the Aegis comes out, the early magic resist and the Crucible against the Lissandra, any late game team fight with a hyper carry or high damage, pretty much just not a Corki from the AD carry, will mean that in the late game World Elite should be winning these fights.
And I really like the pickups that we just saw right here, the Rumble and the Lissandra. Just stop the engage, re-engage, a Rumble ult down, Lissandra ulting herself, going into the team fight. There's a lot of lockdown as well for the lanes. Rek'Sai, a lot of global pressure. There's a lot we can see from their comp, and they really picked smart against this all-in engage comp.
I really think Dyrus is going to need to prioritize that Hourglass against this WE composition. I felt like he got a little late in the previous game. And we'll need to see how Bjergsen can perform on this Lissandra. Again, it's been a pick that we have seen a couple of times throughout the tournament. Last AD carry, Crumbs, you said anything but Corki. I like Caitlyn. You're expecting to go for long team fights with the rest of that team.
Caitlyn's fine and it makes their late game decent, but they have a really good way of zerging the backline and pretty much ignoring the frontline threat because of the Sivir and the Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai can just E into the backline. Lissandra, same thing as well. Drop a Rumble ult on the Caitlyn. She finds herself having to E out of the team fight and she's no longer useful.
And we saw the Caitlyn pick up also because they play versus Sivir, which means Sivir versus Caitlyn is just the pressure lane. They might just want to go for that 2-on-2 and want to have a really good carry to not fall behind early with Leona, get that Leona rolling, find the right team fight as a 4-man engage comp, and yeah, that's basically what they try to do with this.
I think this game will more than likely either end in about 30 minutes in favor of TSM if they can close it really quickly because of their incredible mid-game, or just be closed out by World Elite by the scaling.
Yeah, we will find out that the cup is what they're fighting for. Can TSM make it 2-0? WE coming out. We'll find out right after this.
Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship Grand Final. TSM are up 1-0 after an amazing turnaround in game number 1. Let's get straight down to it, talk about team comps.
Yeah, we were just chatting about this right here, trying to figure out what exactly WE is going to be doing with this Caitlyn. Deficio, you have some theories?
I mean, basically what World Elite is going to do is 1-3-1 split push with the double teleport, and Caitlyn has been picked for this fantastic purpose of
Game number 1.
sitting in the mid lane and clear the waves over and over and over. And once you get to full late game and you get a QSS at the 3rd or 4th item, Bjergsen is running out of targets, and that's where you've gotten to the late game point where the Caitlyn can start to shine. But she needs to get there, and she needs to be able to sit in that mid lane and just wave clear.
Yeah, you know what is a little bit worrisome for me, Deficio, is that when we've seen WE win, they've done it very effectively on the more skirmish-based compositions. And when they go to the very late game, like we saw last time, even though they had this massive advantage, they made positional errors. They showed that they're still a little bit unused to playing together as a unit, and they failed to close the game properly.
You can really see the main tactic for World Elite is we want to fight. We want a team fight against you. So even when they have super minions pushing in the lane, they don't wait for them, they don't play around them, they go for these engages. That's why they lost the last one. They got caught out under the tower of Team Solomid. But we have seen this Diana pick before. If you get out the laning phase, if you get your Abyssal and your Hourglass, you become very tanky and you become very strong in the one-on-ones, and that's where the teleport can really pay off. But they gotta get to that late game point. The pressure is now for Team Solomid around this mid lane with the Ignite.
Yeah, we also talked about in the mid game, if you do that 1-3-1, it's so easy to collapse on the very low escape. And here we go, Dyrus.
Whoa, Dyrus is way out of position here. Are they going to follow through? You bet they are. That will be first blood here. Going over to Spirit. Might not be over just yet. Aluka is at half HP. Here comes Turtle from the side. Going to be the first target from this one. But Wildturtle going low. They use Summon to heal. Spirit's there as well. He gets exhausted, and Spirit will also fall. And that will be a 2-for-1, maybe even.
Caught out first, but then suddenly they decided to keep fighting on the side of for Aluka and for Spirit, and they end up dying. So suddenly, the master bait here from Dyrus pays off for them at level 1, but that was a very strange one.
The master bait indeed, Deficio. We are only 2 minutes and 10 seconds into this one, already going a little bit crazy. As we can see, YuZhe and Spirit just starting off that blue buff as we get into somewhat more of a normal side. Opinions on that one?
Well, I mean, Leona and Caitlyn, not exactly the highest lane synergy, but if they can avoid some auto attacks and play a little defensively, they may be able to get some hits on the Wildturtle, but it is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, we see already the early trade here.
Oh, this one could actually be really close there. One more also attack should do it. There's Summon to heal, gonna be you. Turtle goes in, and they'll trade 1-for-1.
I mean, it's not even over yet, man. There's more fighting.
Well, Lustboy, I don't think he's gonna fall to this one. He still had a flash available somehow. I don't know how summoner spells were still around at that stage. Spirit also came down to see what he could do, but was slightly too late on that one. 3-2 now to TSM.
So just to talk about this bottom lane here from World Elite and what they've set up. Caitlyn is a strong pick into Sivir, so that's fine. But Leona, in order for her to work really well into Janna, you need to run cooldown reduction, because you need your E to have a lower cooldown than the Hurricane or the Howling Gale for Janna itself. But it's Lustboy running 10% cooldown reduction, while on the side of World Elite, 0 cooldown reduction. So Lustboy can basically interrupt every single engage in the lane from the Leona, and that's going to make it pretty tough for them to all-in trade, or at least trade together, where instead Team Solomid can put the shield on Wildturtle and make him stronger in the one-on-ones with the AD carry. So a little bit strange in that case, but because the lane were pushing up here for Team Solomid, they got a bit of extra farm, which was denied from Mystic, as he obviously had to go back to base because he died.
Well, Xiye will be forced to flash there in middle. Different style this time around from Santorin. Maybe playing that Rek'Sai with so many summoners down across the board is a little bit more fun for him in these early stages of this one. Top lane as well, Aluka versus Dyrus has been going in favor of Dyrus up until now, despite that early death for him.
You know, I'm actually really surprised that we see this Diana coming back, because it was used in this first game, this teleport flash Diana, between these two teams in the group stage, and TSM really did prey on it very well. They used that pressure they got in the mid lane, which they will get again, especially since Xiye has to play it very far back, to get those deep wards in and control Spirit. And really, if we look at how WE got so far ahead in the last game, it was over that more aggressive laning phase, getting Xiye very far ahead early on that Ahri, and then converting that into vision control. So I'm not really sold on this. In fact, I think that TSM has played very well against this before.
Yeah.
So a bit risky. And here we go. Bjergsen coming up to the top side.
What are they planning here? Aluka's actually incredibly low. Santorin will chip him down a little more, but they weren't able to get a kill. His flash wasn't available as Mystic, and once again Wildturtle going to exchange a little bit of damage. Wildturtle will just back away from that one. Double Doran's Blade is what he came back into lane with, a longsword for Mystic, so slightly different there at the start of Xiye, just going in and putting down some wards. He was having a bit of a wander to figure out exactly what was going on in the jungle.
Yeah, very different start in the bottom lane here compared to last game where it was World Elite winning the 2v2, but now, because the lane was pushing towards Team Solomid when Mystic died, there was a lot of extra minions for Wildturtle once he returned, and also bad, honestly, recall from Leona in that lane. She recalled to base, so Mystic was forced to sit under his own tower, and he was only level 2 before that last trade we saw here, so big advantage for Team Solomid, and that means they can focus on other lanes. Top lane could be the one. For now, it's Spirit against Dyrus, though.
Oh, Dyrus has no flash. This surely is the end with that red buff keeping him slowed down. It will go over to Aluka, and that was quite simply brilliantly done from Spirit.
Yeah, right there. You do see the Trinket Ward still up from Dyrus, and not only that, but again, the Scuttler control on the top side, excellent by Spirit. In this matchup, we see Rumble Maokai a lot, and he really does have a lot of that kill pressure early because he has the hard CC. If Rumble overextends even a little bit, especially without that flash, it can cause a lot of issues.
And TP bot lane now.
Oh, there's the lockup on towards Lustboy. He will get stunned as Aluka is going to dive in on top of him. YuZhe is moving in as well. Who are they going to finish first? That will be Wildturtle. Lustboy getting close to that tower. They're going to dive for this one. Half dive for this one. YuZhe follows on through with the exhaust. And they do manage to get both, but now Santorin coming around may be able to pick off YuZhe. He's got no flash available, but Mystic and Aluka there, and they walk away.
That was a double teleport in the bottom lane for World Elite, really making sure that lane can now catch up. Nice setup from them. Let's see how much they lose. Dyrus managed to push the top wave, and obviously Bjergsen pushing in the mid lane here. So both solo laners from World Elite losing at least some farm and some damage on the tower.
Oh, Bjergsen edging forward. Flash from Spirit. Bjergsen, of course, level 6, had his ultimate available. We'll be happy to get rid of that flash from Spirit.
Yeah, Spirit actually, we did see Xiye coming up the lane right there. If Lissandra had committed, that actually would have been very risky for him. So I'm not sure that flash was exactly necessary. And Bjergsen will be definitely happy to get that one out. And now YuZhe coming into this mid lane. To get some wards down, will find Santorin right there and give a little clearance as well. Spirit heading down to the bottom side, and Mystic actually finally catching up a bit in terms of itemization.
And despite Dyrus dying twice in this top lane, once obviously at level 1 and then in the lane itself, he's doing okay because he started Ruby Crystal into Maokai. It's what you do when you simply want to rush that haunting guys, which you really need for the trades. And Rumble, again, he is a champion who doesn't need that much gold to really be efficient in the mid game. You just got to get your early magic penetration, and then you're basically good to go. So he's doing okay despite dying twice. And now we see Team Solomid
grabs the blue.
Look at the difference here. Now World Elite running with teleport in the mid lane. You don't have the same pressure. Suddenly it's Team Solomid invading on their blue buff, denying that one from the Diana pick here, really making sure that Bjergsen, once he picks up his own blue, is going to have a very easy time in the lane.
Yeah, that entire time was hammering on the turret as well. That's about half health, so good bit of pressure there from Bjergsen and the rest of TSM. Meanwhile, Spirit on the bottom side of the map. He's going to start walking his way down, seeing if he can get into that bottom lane. Funnily enough, TSM have backed off completely to Krugs.
Yeah, well, can be a bit risky to go forward on that one. And, you know, Xiye trying to get the Raptors right there. Can't play forward at all. And Santorin doing a really good job of invading these buffs right now and trying to take the jungle away. And this is really what I don't understand WE playing this style. I think that they turned on when they stopped playing the teleport Diana, because that opens up Spirit. Spirit is the strongest member on this team. He's the one who's carrying us. We see some scrapping down in the bottom side. And I just don't think this actually plays to WE's strengths very well.
This is what we expected in game 1, but never quite happened for us. There's no vision of that dragon attempt here for TSM. Bjergsen is going to get his blue.
That was very nice time though by Spirit here, knowing first of all the blue buff was spawning, so there's a high chance of Bjergsen moving there to pick that one up. And also you saw the bottom lane had been pushed out from World Elite, so it's a fairly safe one, honestly, despite him trying to sneak it. Very good setup, and he's done it before. He's so good at getting that early dragon. a thing World Elite sadly failed on in the last game, and also why suddenly Team Solomid had that potential 5th dragon coming up later once they came back in the game itself.
Yeah, Dyrus really starting to open up a very large CS gap as well. Up in the top side, Aluka playing pretty defensively. Void Rush up into the mid lane, and Santorin right back into the enemy jungle, trying to take away this red.
It's really risky timing though. Bjergsen just recalled, so had Spirit been up here...
No, he knew he wasn't there. So
okay,
ward right on the blue buff
perfect.
from earlier, so Santorin making a good call.
Yeah, nice little setup there. Normally though, you don't want your mid laner to recall if you're invading into the enemy jungle. But some good deep wards already placed, and this simply is because of that mid lane pressure for Bjergsen that you can invade in. That's how you can shut down even one of the best junglers in the world for being too active in the early game. And Dyrus obviously, with the early haunting guys here, just doing a great job. Aluka though, I've noticed when basically on every champion, what he will do, at least on the tanks, is he's just going to go for like Catalyst on Maokai, as an example, and then he goes full tank after. He doesn't go instant Righteous Glory, he doesn't go Rod of Ages. He aims to just get Catalyst and then get as tanky as possible for the mid game. See if he's going to go for the same here. It does mean even though he gets shut down, he won't be a squishy guy jumping in if there's a fight in a few minutes.
Well, flash available for Dyrus, not for Aluka right now, so Dyrus may be able to get out of this one. He is relatively close to his turret. See how patient Spirit is going to be if he wants to wait for this wave to really press forward or not. They're going for it.
There's the route. The knockup will follow as well. As you said, Dyrus has a flash, and he did use it, but at the very, very last second there.
Well, Aluka did a really good job of arcane smashing him further back right there to prevent that flash from really doing anything at all. And that may open up further gank attempts in the top lane, but for the moment, mid-turret down. And this is that issue. Playing against Bjergsen is very dangerous if you have a non-combat summoner.
Exactly the same that happened the first time of this tournament where Team Solomid and World Elite played each other. Diana mid lane with teleport. That was into a Z though from Bjergsen. Same deal, lost the mid lane, lost the pressure around it.
And how they lost that game too, you know, we've talked about some of the more foolish late game decisions. In the last game, it was pushing onto that middle inhibitor turret when they had the bottom inhibitor already down, not waiting for their timing. In the first game against TSM, what they did was they had a ward on Baron, so they could see TSM wasn't doing it. They were waiting to outscale, and WE just face-checked the brush anyway. So this questionable team fighting, this questionable shot calling in terms of the late game has been costing them. And when WE wins, they win it out of a strong laning phase. So I think they may not be adapting to their own strengths.
Yeah, that really is the thing. If you want to run the split pushing compositions with 1-3-1 setups, you need to get ahead early on, because if you do fall behind, you will never be able to push up the lanes far enough without getting ganked or just even die one-on-one, and that's gonna cost you though. Dyrus with no flash is getting ganked again.
Yeah, there is another knock-up for him. What are they gonna do to finish this one off? Aluka will have to tank the turret somewhat, but he's not gonna stop Dyrus from going down. Aluka went to just half HP, and that will be Dyrus's 4th death of the game. Are they gonna dive YuZhe? They're not.
No, the minion wave is coming a bit late here for Team Solomid. We'll only be able to get just a little bit of damage on this mid tower. So World Elite felt like that was a trade they could take of really trying to shut down this rumble and feed up your Maokai. We see the same build though from Aluka here. Straight tank after Catalyst, doesn't want no Rod of Ages, no instant Righteous Glory either. Righteous Fury, Glory, it's all the same. The thing where he runs fast.
Man, I just don't think that all of these kills are worth the number of objectives that are going down. WE's losing so many buffs, and to TSM's credit, they're doing a very good job of applying pressure cross-map in these situations. And the 3-1, the split push that they want to execute right here is much more difficult when you have to push so far away from any kind of safety and the deep wards go in.
YuZhe and Mystic probably need to be a little careful on this bottom side. Rek'Sai is up in the enemy jungle, but Spirit is actually there, and Spirit going to go in from this one. Not sure on this decision. We will see a teleport coming down. There is YuZhe that'll get in there. There is the ace in the hole coming through, is blocked nicely with the spell shield from Wildturtle. There's the first kill onto YuZhe. Meanwhile, Bjergsen on top of the Malel. It's Aluka that they lock up, and he will be going down any second. Meanwhile, Mystic gets knocked up by Santorin. Wildturtle trying to finish him off, but he flashes over the wall. Either way, that's a 2-for-0 for TSM.
And that was just straight up miscommunication on WE's part. They didn't coordinate the engagement with that teleport at all. Very late TP from Aluka. I thought there was another TP going to be coming in from Xiye, but if you want to make plays like this, I mean, Spirit just eats a huge amount of damage there before the Cataclysm drops before WE's top laner even gets there. We're going to see another TP though.
Oh, this could be dangerous. Summon a heal, baited out there. Turtle's going to get to the tower, and he's just out of range of the Crescent Strike as well. Santorin comes around to make sure that Xiye doesn't push too much in there. And Wildturtle, big kill for him in his bottom lane to go 4-2-2.
And that is so good against the Caitlyn. If Caitlyn doesn't do well in the early game, she becomes so weak in the mid-game stages here. I mean, she's gonna need 20 minutes now to get 3 damage items and a QSS to really become useful. And that is so important for Team Solomid. Wildturtle with a great game so far in this Sivir, and of course Bjergsen in the mid lane farming like a madman.
And we were discussing in the pick and ban phase, maybe as we see Xiye gets jumped on right here.
That was, you know, typical tunnel under the wall. They had a pink ward there, but just too late when he saw that one coming. Smited to slow him, and well, now Bjergsen is going up towards his top lane where Aluka is underneath the turret. He's going to have to go through the TSM jungle to escape. Spirit is actually on that top side, so not too much of a problem for him. Meanwhile, down at the bottom lane, a 3-man push from TSM.
Yeah, this is a problem for World Elite. They're trying just to take a blue buff, honestly, by losing them bottom lane tower. Wildturtle as well, pushing the mid tower here. All TSM is doing is just looking for cross-map objectives. When they see 2 guys on the top side, they know they're going to be stronger on the bottom side of the map, and that's why they're pushing it in, getting a lot of damage on the towers. Dragon being set up as well. No teleport from World Elite. They won't be able to stop this one. It is not looking good, because if you do swap out to 1-3-1, you're going to die in the side lanes. Let's see Wildturtle though, being jumped on.
Oh, Leona ultimate does come through, but Spirit going low, and he'll be finished. Bjergsen pounces in from the side. They've taken the dragon. They've got 3, 4 kills now, and that just went from bad to worse for World Elite.
World Elite, their coordination is totally off in this game compared to what we saw in the last one. They did have some coordination issues at the end, but everyone just going one by one into dive. It makes it very easy for TSM just to clear off these kills and continue to snowball objectives. TSM looking like they're going to have too much of a lead in this game to really do anything for WE at this stage.
Approaching 10k. I mean, Aluka's up there and thinking, hey guys, you know those 2 teleports that we have that are both off cooldown? Well, I can't join in, and we're losing out. Further and further they fall behind. This turret will go down to the minions slowly but surely. No one there from TSM to stop that happening, but that is the first tower of this game for World Elite.
It's just insane to see the difference when World Elite is not winning the early game. Because when they're winning the early game, they start setting up these deep wards here. They get the right team fights, play around objectives, and of course the lane pressure so well. But now that they fall behind, the teleports haven't worked for them. Suddenly, you could see it's Team Solomid picking all the right fights, and World Elite not knowing what to do, so they just figure, let's just keep fighting. It seems to be what's working for us normally, and that's where Team Solomid keep punishing them, winning, always having a numbers advantage as well.
Well, you know, what I don't like about these 2 TPs is that you have to kind of use them together in this situation, and you also have to be able to take so much of an advantage whenever you use them. The long cooldown, the 5 minutes coming in, and if you use them improperly even once, TSM will come back, take 2 or more objectives, and it doesn't work when you just... This is a very new team to be playing together, to expect Xiye to come into this tournament and be able to constantly use his too much.
All you do is hurt your best player, because it's going to be so much harder for your jungler to make plays around the lane when you have that teleport. So why do you not want to allow Spirit to really carry your early game like he's done so many times before? I don't think we're going to see this Diana in game 3, that's for sure.
Oh, we're going to see a fight here. TSM looking to get some damage. Looks like TSM had enough. They still have that inner turret in the top lane to go back to, which will be easily pushed to get in range to do the damage. We have Leona coming in as well. This will be a couple of hits from TSM if they decide to commit. And they're just going to go straight back around.
Between the 2 lanes here, mid lane and top lane, that's why they can go top, push it in, wait for World Elite to react, and then just follow the minion wave down to the bottom side or the mid lane. And keep 1 guy in the lane where TSM is not pushing, and then you have suddenly 5 versus 4. We might even see them try and just go for a bit of an aggressive move. flash in ulti on someone from World Elite, blow them up instantly, and suddenly you can take that tower as well. Back to pushing just 2 lanes. We're back in this pressure on. And just go for a bit of an aggressive move.
Last game. Let's see if TSM fall foul on that front as well. Either way, a bit of ward clearage going on. There's nothing in the Baron pit itself, as we can see there with the vision toggle to WE's view. And look at this, they see, that's a nice little using your spells to check areas of the map that you just don't want. Well, basically resets what we had a minute or so ago.
Yeah, just another siege onto the inhibitor right now. TSM really doing a good job of methodically closing this game, taking very few risks, seeing if they can get some picks or take some objectives for free. So this is the kind of methodical closure that WE had ever a little bit, but I don't think TSM is going to be hasty and make those same kind of mistakes. They played together for too long.
Leona ulti being popped there.
Yeah.
No follow-up after the tower died there. And you can see how Dyrus, despite dying 4 times, AD carry on the mid laner, the 2 carry roles honestly on the team. So it's really not paid off for World Elite to focus Dyrus so much.
Yeah, well, he may have died, but every time they did, they took a bunch of towers, so he got a lot of that money right back in Global Gold, not to mention that he had that huge CS advantage in the first place. So he has been playing from a pretty substantial advantage for a lot of this game. His death's pretty much irrelevant so far.
Blue buff there for Bjergsen. Santorin is once again going to get control of this bottom side, or at least try to get control of this bottom side of the map. Spirit is somewhat alone. Of course, does have... Oh, the ultimate going through just in time. And that will be Spirit dead here. Bjergsen now unstoppable at 504. And he was way out of position. It was obviously relying on the flag and drag to just get out of there, but Bjergsen too quick for him.
And no backup there either. A lot of the coordination that we've seen between WE's jungler and support just not coming into play this game. They did get some wards down so they can, I suppose, have a nice view of Santorin taking their entire jungle before turning back to this drag. Only 1 dragon so far for TSM. But they just taking this nice and slow.
Yep. No reason to go for any crazy dives or anything. Now you can just walk straight into the top side of the jungle, ward it off completely, push World Elite back, and then there's suddenly the Baron threat, or you can quickly rotate to the top lane once the wave pushes in, get some damage on that tower, and that's going to be the last auto on World Elite, who will not be able to fight for it, except for Lustboy. A little bit greedy here, a little bit over-aggressive, I think we can say.
Wow. Some interesting ultimates coming out there from WE. Lustboy has been forced to recall though after dropping so low with that one.
And this is the first time we see WE run with an engaged support. Normally it's always disengaged. Janna has been one of the best picks for them. So changing up the style and really not been working for them in this game.
They have sent Aluka down bottom though, and he's actually, I think, going to get turret number 2. Oh, Lustboy going to go face checking over. There is an ace in the hole coming through as well, and Mystic will record his 3rd kill, but TSM looking to turn this one around. YuZhe will be taken out there. Aluka has teleport available here to get involved, but Dyrus is actually down on the bottom side there with him, so they'll trade 1 for 1. Both supports dead.
And this build, though, I mean, we see the small amount of damage that Mystic is doing to Santorin right here. It's really, you can see how far behind this Caitlyn is in terms of the power spike. There's the ult onto Xiye.
Not much more to be said, really. Spirit, though, is going to try and kill off Wildturtle, but he's bitten off more than he can chew. It's actually Bjergsen who will get it with the Ignite. They lock up Mystic as well. 3 men down. Rumble. Dyrus has walked all the way up from that bottom lane, and TSM with 4 men, including the AD carrier mid laner, are knocking on the Nexus turrets.
Lustboy is on his way as well. Popped the talisman and everything. Team Solomid looking so strong here in game 2.
Definitely a much better performance than game one, and I think a very questionable draft from WE. After, you know, if you're WE and you play game one, you look at that game and you say, hey, we controlled this thing so well from start to finish. Why not just play that same style one more time and see if you don't make quite so many teamfight mistakes in that late game? But instead, they change up their strategy pretty drastically, actually, and into the same style that saw them losing to TSM in the group stages. I just don't think the decision-making's there from WE. Usually, it's wise in League of Legends to kind of keep what's working for you until it proves that it can't. Instead, they took what they abandoned what was working for them and took what they had already had evidence didn't work and put it into play.
Not sure if they got greedy with the Leona pick as well. I mean, what is she really going to offer in a 1-3-1? She just sits in the mid lane with your AD carry and then you wait for a teleport play, but once again, that requires you to get really far ahead before you can pull that off. Well, why not get some disengage on your support that can help your Caitlyn out? Yeah,
and it's not even like there's kill pressure with Caitlyn anyway, so if you want to get that Leona, maybe try and go for some stylish lane kills or set things up for Spirit, but that's just unlikely to happen. I mean, the only explanation is that they wanted to make that play in bottom lane with double teleport and try and set that up, but still hard to do.
And here's Aluka going to be locked at first by Bjergsen. Howling Gale knocks him up as well, but only half of his health dropping away. He is decently tanky at this point. Certainly not the kind of tank that he was in that last game, of course, playing Sion. Meanwhile, Dyrus will be pushing up the bottom lane, so WE's hand may be forced here soon. Good thing for them is while Aluka's TP is down, they of course have a second one with Xiye in that mid lane, so he might be the man that's forced to go down there, or you know, he could send both of them down there and just give up the tower.
Well, I mean, not a whole lot you can do anyway to really defend this one. You only have Caitlyn as proper wave player at this point, with Diana sitting in one of the lanes, trying to hold the super minions, and also she really needs to get in with her auto attack to really clear this wave fast enough. Spirit, though, might be caught out.
Gone on maybe too far. Actually, will jump on towards Dyrus. Aluka will get into the middle of the team. Mystic at the back is taking pot shots, but will he be able to finish them off? That's a nice little ultimate from Lustboy. Well, Xiye will dive into the middle. Have they got the damage here? Zonya's used by Dyrus, and now they're going to try and turn it around onto him. So far, a 2 for 2, 8 in the hole, blocked by Dyrus. That would have killed Wildturtle for sure, and that will be the end of that one. 2 kills apiece.
Pretty good play by Spirit, though, to really avoid the engage at first. And then we just saw the 280 carry staying in the backline here, hitting every single one they could get close to. In the end, 2 for 2. Not the best trade for Team Solomid when they are so far ahead, but they're going in for more.
Dyrus is coming in with the home guards.
Yeah, Spirit's dead here. Harpoon landing perfectly and give it over to Bjergsen. That will put him at 8-0-7, but this is a fight just before.
Right, as we take a look at this one right here, Dyrus actually has to put a pretty bad equalizer down right there just to deal with himself and Spirit in the pit. Spirit will actually just get out right away, and Mystic is given a ton of time just to auto-attack at the backside. Spirit coming back into the fight with the flag and drag, and Xiye not really finding an opportunity to get too many autos in, but that was a surprisingly even trade, and there's the Baron for TSM.
There's a really good position for Aluka, and we mentioned his build earlier where he delays that Righteous Fury here, Righteous Glory. I believe it's called now. I should probably get it right the second time. And not going for Rod of Ages, so just aiming to be a bit stronger early in the game as a tank, and that's why he can stay in that front line. And he was in the choke point. The claw had already been used from Bjergsen, so nobody to really dive onto the Caitlyn. And that's why at least they could trade even, but then after, obviously, Spirit ended up dying, and Baron over to Team Solomid, who is still very, very far ahead of World Elite.
I think a great call from Dyrus there to use that TP getting kill off Spirit. It means that your Baron is then 10 times safer than it was before.
Yeah, and that's to the credit to the deep wards that TSM has had in this entire game. And they are going to take a very easy third dragon right here.
Stopping that one, that's for sure. Nothing really down there for WE. Going to be confined to the outskirts, really, of their base. Santorin, I don't know what he just bought. I didn't quite see it, but he sold it again. Oh, it was the Elixir, yeah.
Already popped, so Team Solomid are ready to close the one. I mean, they can dive on to World Lead as well.
I really like what we see from Santorin here. Go ahead, pick up the Elixir of Ruin, use the Baron powered split push to just get these turrets down as quickly as they possibly can. And there we go. See a lot of damage coming in. Another minion wave. This should be Going down instantly. WE may try for an engage.
Oh, they've got to lock up YuZhe, and he doesn't even get chance there to get down the solar flare. Spirit will die as well, and that is 2 quick kills. The third one will come down. Bjergsen almost being picked off, but only Mystic is left standing here. Doesn't quite get knocked up by the Howling Gale. That won't matter to them though. A Monsoon will give TSM a little bit more health, and they are going to be going through, finishing everything off, and actually a surrender in the end from Team WE will give TSM their second game in this best of 5.